Have you seen this image of Mercury with its tail? It looks more like a comet than a planet, doesn't it? Well, it turns out that what we thought was a perfectly ordinary planet might have some very extraordinary features. And no, it's not just one planet. We think it might be two. I'm a science journalist. Let's have a look. This image was taken by NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory on the 23rd of March 2023. It shows Mercury shortly after its evening twilight, when the sun has set on the planet's far side. That's the reason for the blue color in the sky. It's not twilight in the usual sense because Mercury has no atmosphere to speak of, so there isn't really air for light to scatter in. This blue glow comes from the solar wind. The solar wind is a stream of charged particles that flows outward from the sun. It's so named because it actually carries energy and momentum from the sun and literally blows things away into interplanetary space. Most planets have an atmosphere, and the solar wind blows that atmosphere around. For example, our own atmosphere has this beautiful tail on the night side of Earth. You can see it here in this movie from the European Space Agency's Venus Express spacecraft. Now, Mercury's atmosphere is blown around too, but it's very tenuous, so much so that we can hardly call it an atmosphere in the usual sense. There's practically no atmosphere, so you usually wouldn't expect to see such a tail. But apparently Mercury has surprised us. When the Solar Dynamics Observatory took this picture, something unexpected happened. Mercury was at its closest approach to the Sun of its entire orbit. In addition, it was also in a region of space where the magnetic field of the Sun was particularly strong. These conditions caused an outburst of the solar wind that even Mercury's weak and thin atmosphere couldn't stand up against. This may sound a bit disappointing that the tail is merely a consequence of an unremarkable event. But come on guys, it's Mercury. Its entire surface is covered with weird stuff that we don't understand properly. Its orbit is an absolute mess, and now it has a tail. We have known for quite a while that Mercury has these huge, probably ancient impact craters. And just last year, researchers found out that these craters are filled with organic molecules. Where did those come from? No idea. And then there's Mercury's orbit. It's very eccentric, which means that sometimes it gets super close to the Sun, and sometimes it's much further away. And it's also slightly tilted with respect to the Earth's orbit. Now, for a long time, astronomers attributed this to the gravitational influence of Jupiter. But it turned out that Jupiter's influence isn't strong enough to have this effect. And no one has the faintest clue what could have caused this strange orbit. In view of all this, I think it's pretty clear that we should keep an open mind about the tail. Is it just an outburst of the solar wind that happened to hit Mercury just right? Sure. But maybe there's something else going on. Maybe there's an atmosphere that we have grossly underestimated. Or maybe, just maybe, it's not just one planet, but two. There are a few reasons to think that Mercury might be a double planet. For one, Mercury is somewhat wider than it is high. That's odd. Most objects that we encounter in the solar system are a bit more spherical. And the reason they not exactly spherical is that they rotate, and that makes them bulge a bit at the equator. Mercury rotates once in about 59 days. That's extremely fast. If it didn't rotate so fast, gravity would pull it into a more spherical shape. Now, a quick rotation could also explain why it's wider than it is tall. But another explanation is that Mercury isn't a solid body, but that it's loosely bound rubble, kind of like a comet. Comets are notoriously difficult to observe because they only exist for a short time. They break apart and then they're gone. However, if Mercury had a companion that was slightly bigger than it, then the gravitational pull from the companion would prevent Mercury from flying apart. This idea has been put forward several times over the years. But the thing is, now that we have the capability to test this, we have satellites watching Mercury, and the next time it will pass in front of the Sun, we'll know within a day or two whether it has a tail then. And if it does, well, that's something that we should be able to explain. I find it amazing that we can make such progress in science with just looking at pictures of planets. If you think that's amazing, wait till you hear how they discovered this.